Lumens DC190 Ladibug, and you might be wondering why I have this red meter behind it. This ruler is actually what we're calling an actual zoom meter. I know you hear a lot about optical zoom in the Ladibug and document camera world, and the optical zoom ratio has to do with the optics moving, the actual camera lens is moving in order to zoom in the way you would zoom with a macro lens on a camera like a professional might use when they're taking pictures of sporting events and whatnot. But actual zoom, we want to show you, is more usable in the classroom. Now the DC190 has an optical zoom of 5.5 times optical zoom. In other words, the ratio is 5 times closer, 5.5 times closer than just full scale. But right now we're looking at a full scale image of 0 through 18 inches from corner to corner, and you see we have a little bit of extra space there also. What I want to show you is without using the optical zoom, I'm going to use the manual zoom of moving the Ladibug head. I'm calling this actual zoom because we're actually zooming in. There's no better image quality than you can get from actually being there. In other words, standing on the side of the football field and taking a picture from the sidelines with an optical zoom lens. You've got a lot of light you're missing out on. You're going to do your best you can because you can't walk out on the field. But guess what? You can walk right up to your object underneath a Ladibug. You're not prevented from moving closer, so you don't have to rely on an optical zoom lens which shrinks down the aperture and limits the amount of light that comes in. You can actually zoom in by just moving the Ladibug head, and then you're closer to the object. So if we saw 18 inches from one corner to the other a moment ago, and now we're zooming in, I'm going to click focus when I get there. Now we're down to, that would be about 1 inch, a little bit over 1 inch. I can move in a little bit closer even, as long as I don't put too much shade on it from the head itself. And we have the lamp here, we can adjust to handle that. Now we have about 1 inches from corner to corner. So we've gone from 18 down to 1. So what I would like to propose is that is an actual zoom ratio of 18 times zoom. And how useful is that in the classroom? When you can just move the camera head and zoom in on anything you want, you're getting more light in, you're seeing the image clearer, and you don't have to recenter your object. Let's go and try an optical zoom with our 5.5 times optical zoom. If I press the zoom button right here on my remote or on the camera base right there, we're going to zoom in 5.5 times, and the zoom ratio is going to require us to recenter our object, which is the case with any optical zoom camera. If you're zooming in, you're only zooming into the middle of your object. Well, if you have a piece of paper and you're trying to zoom in on a paragraph, now that's about, well, this should be 5.5 inches, right, for 5.5. And actually we've gone a little bit beyond that because I think it's using some of the digital zoom too. So about 5.5, no, I'm sorry, we went from 18 down to 5, so we have a different ratio there. I got to do the math. But the optical zoom ratio is going to require you to recenter your object. You notice it's not quite as bright as it was before. I need to do another auto tune here because the aperture has gotten smaller now and it's letting less light in. So the comparison between actual zoom and optical zoom can be the quality of the image you see. I'm Chris Lofrey, Product Manager with Lumens Ladibug Document Cameras.